Hi everyone, and welcome to Rum Runner Dams. I'm Dan Genovese. Today we're making 3 cocktails: the Suffering, Dying, and Dead Bastards.
Oh, blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down.
To me way, blow the man down.
Blow the man down, bullies, blow him away.
Give me some time to blow the man down. We went over the bar on the 13th of May. Way, blow the man down. The Gallagher jumped and the gale came away. Give me some time to blow the man down.
So the drinks that we're making today come to us from the master mixologist Joe Scialom. Joe Scialom really came on the scene with these 3 cocktails in Cairo back in 1942 at the Long Bar, which was at the Cairo Hotel. And he served it as a reviver drink, which all 3 of these are, just different variations. And it was helping to revive some of the British officers that were stationed there. Why don't we go ahead and let's get started in the drink. This very first one that we're making is the classic and probably one of the most known of the 3 drinks, which is the Suffering Bastard. So for today, we're going to be shaking our drink. First thing we're going to need to do here is bitters. You can use any kind of bitters you want. I'm using Angostura. You need 2 dashes of bitters. Okay. Next, the recipe originally called for lime cordial. Not going to lie, commercially available lime cordial is really inconsistent. Some of it is completely synthetic flavorings and some really nasty kind of like colorings that are in there, totally fake. I mean, lime is not neon green. So I try to stay away from those. Whenever I get a lime cordial in there, I just do 2 parts of lime juice to 1 part of some kind of sweetener. In this case, I'm just using simple syrup. You feel free, there's plenty of great recipes online that you can get to make your own lime cordial if you so are inclined. Also, there's higher quality lime cordials that are out there. Just look for a good maker of them and get them from them. Try to stay away from the stuff that you normally get in the store. All right, so with that, let's start out with some fresh lime juice here. We're gonna do 1/2 ounce. The original recipe calls for 1/2 ounce of lime cordial, so I'm doing 1/2 ounce of lime juice, and then I'm gonna match that up with a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. This is 2 to 1, so if you're gonna use regular 1 to 1, you're gonna use about 1/3 of an ounce. All right. Next, let's talk about some base spirits. All right, first thing we're going to do here is London Dry Gin. London Dry Gin, we need 1 ounce. Okay. Next thing we're going to need is brandy. In this case, we're going to use cognac. I have Hennessy's VSOP. It's one of my favorites. I love using this stuff. You need 1 ounce of this as well. Okay, now we have most of our ingredients in here. Now what we need is we need some ice. So when we put ice inside of this drink here, I'm going to do today a technique that's known as a whip shake. So what's a whip shake? Whip shake means that I'm going to take a little bit of ice, crushed normally, or pebble, and I'm talking, I have a 6-ounce scoop here, so I don't know if you guys can see that. It's about like 3 to 4 ounces total. It's not a lot. You don't need a ton, okay? Just put that inside of your shaker here. Go ahead and pour your cocktail in there. Go ahead, seat it nice, just like we normally do. And now we're going to shake it. And we're going to continue shaking this just until we can't hear ice anymore, okay? So you can still hear it. So we're going to keep going. Starting to become harder to hear now. And there you go. Really can't hear it anymore. All right, that's it. So the time really isn't dependent upon really how that's sealed well. I'm going to use double old-fashioned glass here today. Then we're always going to use our little Woodrow coaster. I'm using the rustic guys today. Go ahead and dump the entire contents of there right inside your glass. Excellent. Next, you're going to need to top this off with ginger beer. Remember, this is a reviver type cocktail. So that means it's really about waking you up, right? So ginger beer here is perfect for it. Get yourself a high quality ginger beer. I'm using Fever Tree. It's my absolute favorite when I'm making cocktails. Now, most recipes or bartenders or things online will say eyeball it, about 4 ounces. No. I mean, you measure out the spirits, you even measure out lime juice when you put it into a drink. Why would you just guess at something that makes up the vast majority of the cocktail? I'm just going to measure out 4 ounces. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the glass. Now, the reason why people say you don't want to pour it twice is like you lose a lot of the effervescence. You don't lose that much. I mean, I had it both ways. It's indistinguishable. In my opinion, it's completely indistinguishable. So all I'm going to do is just get my bar spoon and gently kind of like just incorporate those contents together. Okay? All right. That's right about where I want it. You don't have to over stir it. Now what we're going to do is top this off with crushed ice. And I like to get this real nice and high on here. It's got a good amount. All right, perfect. Next, we're gonna garnish this guy up. So, a little trusty herb saver here. We're gonna grab some beautiful sprigs of mint. Let's grab another guy here, okay. I'm gonna go and strip off some of these bigger guys on the bottom. Pinch off those little things that are down there. Let's get some of these lower leaves off here. There we go, perfect. Now, what we're gonna do is grab these together, a little crush. We're gonna tuck those guys right down in, just like that, in the glass. So you guys can go ahead and see that. Just want to tuck that in there. Next, calls for garnish. Second piece of the garnish here is calls for an orange wheel. I like to use some of these dehydrated oranges. These are the dehydrated blood oranges that I have from Cocktail Garnish Company. Link below. Use that link, you get 10% off your order. So please check that out. Go like just tuck that right in down there. And now we need a straw. Surfside sips, as always. I'm going to use my little jade straw guy here. I'm going to tuck that guy right in down there. And there you have it, everyone. That is the Rum Runner Dan's slight variation on the original Suffering Bastard. Let's give it a taste. Yeah. So good. So good. I like this drink. So the big thing is a lot of people drink this and think immediately, wow, Dan, that's a lot of ginger beer. And you're right. There's a big taste of ginger. You have to remember, this is not a cocktail where the ginger beer really is there to only help support the other spirits that are in it. Like you have gin, you have brandy in here. These are a little bit more delicate in flavor, where the ginger beer can come in and play a very strong flavoring component of it and kind of not muddle them, but kind of contend with them as the main flavor of the drink. But that's okay in this case, because really the point of this is to be a reviver drink. So you want the big strong punch of the spice from the Angostura, from the ginger beer from Fever Tree here. And then what you want is to kind of smooth that out a little bit, so it's not too harsh. It's a little bit, helpful for the drinker with some of the cognac. And the citrus notes of what you would have either with a cordial, or in my case, my kind of like homemade-ish deconstructed cordial that I put into here of the lime juice and simple syrup, along with the gin, really helps to bring out some of those botanicals, right? So it's a fantastic tasting drink, and remember, it's supposed to be like this punch in your face kind of gingery flavor. So that's our first drink. Next up, we have our second variation on this cocktail, and this started to become varied once Joe Scialom started working for Conrad Hilton. So this, a little bit of a backstory on Joe Scialom. While he was in Cairo, he really rubbed elbows with a lot of really influential people. He spoke 8 languages fluently. And on top of that, he was very good at remembering both faces, names, and not just the drink that the people liked, but also the way that they liked it. So basically, he became probably one of the best bartenders in the world at the time. So everyone flocked to him. Celebrities, royalty, businessmen, people from all over the world, because they could speak their native tongue, and he was awesome at making drinks. However, kind of grew underneath some suspicion, and he was suspected of being a spy. And while he was suspected of being a spy, he was in prison for a time. Once he got out, though, he worked for Conrad Hilton. By the way, Conrad Hilton actually was a spy and worked with the United States government to put up listening posts inside of his hotel all over the world. Didn't make that up. It's actually published. Go check it out. So kind of ironic there, but why did Conrad go after him? Well, you have to remember, 8 languages. He has a huge clientele of people who really like talking with him and love to come to see him. So they know that he's building a bar, it's going to attract people. It's like having a celebrity bartender be your personal bartender to build the bar at all of your hotels. It was an excellent move on Conrad's part. Well, Joe Scialom, just like most master mixologists, will take original drinks that they had and tweak them a little bit over time, change them a little bit. And the Suffering Bastard was no exception to that. The next version that comes to us from that is what's known as the Dying Bastard. So the vast majority of the drink is completely the same. The only thing that changes is some of the spirits that's in it. So let's go ahead and get started making this one. So again, just like before, cocktail shaker. We're going to start out with 2 dashes, Angostura bitters. Next, we're going to grab our lime juice here, and we are going to go ahead and measure out half an ounce. Again, if you want to use a lime cordial, please feel free to go ahead and grab a high quality one and just measure out half an ounce. Otherwise, also put in 1/4 ounce here, simple syrup. Next, Ace Spirits, lemon dry gin. We're going to do half an ounce this time. Brandy. In this case, we're going to use half an ounce of this. Last of our base spirits that we're going to be putting in here is bourbon, or whiskey. Now, I like to use bourbon. In this case, I love Four Roses bourbon. I think it's phenomenal in the drink. I would steer you away from subbing in some type of rye whiskey or heavy or any type of a bourbon or American whiskey whose mash bill has a lot of rye in it, or a higher amount of rye. Only because rye would tend to dominate a lot of the flavors here, so basically all you would taste is ginger beer and rye, and it kind of throws it off a little bit, I think. So definitely go with a bourbon here, and I would even think a maker's mark, like a wheated bourbon, would actually work in this one pretty well. Half an ounce of this as well. This one's on the lightest side in terms of the booze. This only has 1.5 ounces in it. We'll go ahead and add in our ice. Again, a little skosh, not that much, 3 ounces or so. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead, take that cocktail, dump that down into our glass there. Seat this. We'll wipe our hands so it doesn't go flying across the room. And now we're just gonna give it a whip shake. Okay, almost. Almost. All right. That's really pretty much there. Now I'm just mostly hearing the water. So let's get this guy unseated here. And again, same as before, we're going to dump this right inside of our glass. Next, Fever Tree, a world famous ginger beer here. We're gonna go with 4 ounces again, 4 ounces. Took me right down the end of the bottle. All right, now, gentle stir again. Okay, and let's go ahead and fill this guy up with crushed ice. Now, garnish-wise, same thing as before. I'm just gonna go ahead and, actually, we're gonna grab that guy too. Gonna grab a couple of these, pull off some of these lower leaves, rip off some of those stems. That stem, the little leaf that went flying there. We're gonna tuck in that mint right there in the back, and we're gonna go ahead and grab another one of our little dehydrated blood oranges here. I'm gonna tuck that guy in right there, and let's go ahead and grab a straw. This time I'm going to use this nice teal blue color one from Surfside Sips. Put that guy in there, and Woodrow coaster again, and there you have it, everyone. This is Joe Scialom's second variation, the Dying Bastard. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, so it's still a very ginger beer forward drink, but the flavor on it, and this is really why you have to recognize Joe Scialom as a master mixologist. It changed, okay? Just by adding in the bourbon here, with just a cognac and gin base, and now adding in some bourbon, you still taste the booze, but the booze it's a much smoother type of drink. It's almost like a little bit more forgiving, right? It kind of wakes you up a little bit differently, I think, than the actual Suffering Bastard. So this one kind of it's a little bit lighter on the booze flavor, but it kind of rounds out really nicely because you have a little bit less of the gin, so it's a little bit less on that punchy side in terms of the botanicals coming through, and it's more smooth and rounded out due to the bourbon and the cognac. Fantastic drink, definitely a little bit different in flavor from the Suffering Bastard. So that's our second variation, everyone, the Dying Bastard from Joe Scialom. For the last drink that we're going to be making today is the Dead Bastard. So the Dead Bastard, again, just like the rest of them, has most of the same ingredients in it with, again, a change and a variation on the base spirits. So now we're actually having 4 base spirits split inside of the drink. So let's get into making it here. Again, we're going to do this cocktail shaker, and we're going to whip shake it. So let's start off. Angostura bitters, 2 dashes. Lime juice, 1/2 ounce. Okay. Simple syrup, 1/4 ounce. Okay. And now we're going to get into our spirits. So, gin, 1/2 ounce. Brandy, 1/2 ounce. Bourbon, 1/2 ounce. And finally, the new addition is lightly aged rum. Now, some people out there are going to know, oh, I've had the Dead Bastard before. It calls for light rum, not lightly aged, Dan. You're correct, it does. But light rum you can use, but light rum and lightly aged rum, just so you know, as you heard before, the main difference there between good light rum and lightly aged rum has to do with charcoal filtering. That's about it. In the state here, half an ounce. All right. Excellent. Now, same thing as before, little scoosh, a little bit of crushed ice there. It's gonna go right inside. We're gonna grab our other tin, pour that in, seep that guy in there, nice, and we're gonna give it a whip shake. It's done. It's really about dilution, and everyone's like, well, that's probably not really chilled. Hey, you're right. You're supposed to use chilled ginger beer in this. And also I'm putting a lot of crushed ice in it. That's actually where the chilling comes in from this. That little Scotia Pebble with the whip shake, the whole purpose of that is for dilution. That's it. And it's a real quick way to do it. All right, double old fashioned, Woodrow coaster. Dump this in, same as before. All right, now, grab our fresh bottle of ginger beer. Just realized this is carbonated. Don't want it to explode on me. That would have been pretty funny. All right, now we're gonna go with 4 ounces again of ginger beer. All right, we're gonna give this a nice little gentle stir again. Nothing too crazy, just with the bar spoon. You actually can just do this with your straw too, that you're gonna use. You don't have to even use a bar spoon for this. I just had the bar spoon out, so why not? All right, we're gonna fill this guy up with crushed ice again. All right, there we go. Actually take this right to the end of our crushed ice. So let's go ahead and grab some mint here. I'm gonna grab these guys. I'm gonna strip off these lower leaves, just like that. We just want the tips of them anyway. Make sure they're nice and lined up. Twist, pinch, give these a little slap, little crush. Tuck them in together here, bundle them, push them down in. Let them open up just like that. That's how you get them nice and tight, but they look real nice when you open up. Little blood orange. Remember, Cocktail Garnish Company, link below. You can pick these up. I'm gonna tuck that guy right in there, just like that. And now we're gonna get our last straw. I think it's fitting, because this is the dead bastard, that we're gonna use a bone straw from Surfside Sips. You can pick these up, again, link below, save 20%, Rum Runner 20. Support Andrew and his awesome business. And there you are, everyone. That is the final variation on Joe Scialom's Reviver cocktails, the Dead Bastard. Let's give it a taste. Yeah. So for those of you that are tropical drink lovers, tiki drink lovers, if you love these, this one's gonna immediately, you taste it, go, wait a minute, that's real familiar. You're gonna be right, because this is normally kind of the one that you're gonna get inside of tiki bars. I mean, you can get some Suffering Bastards, you might even get a Dying Bastard. A Dead Bastard is a real famous one. Why? Because it has rum in it. But coupled with all these other flavors, it's amazing how keeping most of this drink static and then actually having just a variation on this, just with the spirits and switching out the spirits here, really changes the flavor profile of this drink. It rounds it out really nice, but you're starting to get, now you're starting to get a drink that is pulling in with so many different flavors. So you get the cognac in there that kind of rounds out that punchy ginger. You get that botanical flavors in there that kind of accentuate that, you know, a little bit of the ginger flavor, but spice it up even more, and kind of plays in with the Angostura. And then the bourbon in here provides that oaky kind of smoothness to it, which is why I like a smoother kind of wheated bourbon even for this, because it kind of helps on both sides there. And then the last is lightly aged Jamaican rum. Just enough of that funk coming through that you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's ginger, but oh, wait, that's those hogo notes. That's that Jamaican rum. That's like home to me. So you get that flavor. So there you go, everyone. That's a fantastic drink. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today for our episode of Rum Runner Dan, where we made for you 3 cocktails, starting with the original Suffering Bastard, Dying Bastard, and the Dead Bastard, all by Joe Scialom. You know, whichever one that you decide to mix up, you know, make sure you do it with a bunch of really good friends, and always make sure that you drink responsibly. Thank you so much again for tuning in today, and until next time, everybody, Cole Maluna.